This house is a cradle for our dreams, the workshop of our common endeavor. We gather part of the great circle of life around the heart of the faith, the altar of our common life, the fire of hope and commitment. Where is the Reverend David Johnson? Light our chalice. Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. I am grateful for your presence here. However you are, whatever has brought you into this space, whatever it is you're looking for. Perhaps you've come with joy in your heart and want to sing out in celebration. Perhaps you've come with sorrow and tears and you need to sit in a bit of repose with the community. Maybe you've come looking for a few words of wisdom. I can't guarantee they'll come from me, but hopefully you'll hear something, something of that sort. Maybe you've come to connect with one another, or possibly just simply you want to rest. You want to rest with yourself, or you want to rest with the divine, howsoever you define it. I'm grateful for all the reasons that brought you here today. I'm grateful for the community, and I'm grateful that you are part of it. So thank you very much. So we lit our chalice with those words of the Reverend David Johnson. We turn now to Sarah Moore's Campbell for our call to worship. Give us a child's eyes, that we may receive the beauty and freshness of this day like a sunrise. Give us a child's heart, that we may be filled with wonder and delight. Give us a child's faith, that we may be cured of our cynicism. Give us the spirit of a child, who is not afraid to need, nor who is not afraid to love. Amen. Let us join together in singing our first hymn in the Purple Book, number 75, in Quickening Streams by Janet Bowering, Reverend Janet Bowering, hymn number 75. Let us gather into a time of prayer with these words of Pat Kozak and Janet Shafrin. This is then followed by our covenant, which you'll find printed in your order of worship and will appear online for those following from home. But first, these words. Weaver God, we come to you, or more the truth, you find us disconnected and out of sorts. We are disheartened by our failures, discouraged by our weakness, and little that we do seems worthy of your grace. Restore our fortunes, restore our future. Weave for us the tapestry on which our lives are stretched. Give us patience with the endless back and forth of shuffle, hand, and effort. We look too closely, seeing only strands and knots and snarled threads of too much trying, or none at all. Grant us eyes to see the whole of which we are a part. In the end, we ask for gentleness with ourselves, acceptance of our less than perfect ways. We pray that what we do and what you weave from patterns clear to all of mercy in the warp of it and love throughout. Amen. And please read with me our covenant. We gather here in sacred fellowship to witness the fullness of our lives and all life, to hold and be held, tell stories and listen, to be renewed and renew the world. We speak with care and patience. We act with gentleness and compassion. We forgive each other and ourselves. In faith that we build beloved community, we renew our covenant today. Amen. So the other week I was coming home from chapel, and I ran into someone in my apartment that I had seen sort of a number of years ago, but hadn't really chatted with much. So we had a little conversation as we were walking towards the stairs, and I think because the lift seemed a bit slow, I opted to take up the stairs. And when I was heading up, she said, "Oh my gosh, you've got this huge backpack on." I don't know whether you see me very often with my backpack, but I thought I would bring it in today for those unfamiliar with it. There we go. It's not normally filled with the items that you'll find today. That's more to the story. But this is actually filled even more than it normally is, which is a lot. Which just speaks very much to the heart and soul of the little girl in today's story. So this is the just-in-case backpack. It isn't a competition to see how much stuff you can squeeze into your backpack, Mom shook her head. But it's all important stuff. Lily loved her backpack. And this, you have to use your imagination as well, because it was small and blue, and so many things fitted into it. Lily's backpack had lots of zips and pockets, too. That made it even more special. And that was Lily's big problem. You just never know what you are going to need when you are in the garden or the park. What things? Lily's mom seemed to be having a head-shaking day. Just things that might be useful. Lily grinned at Cyril hanging on the backpack. Lily started counting her fingers. Well, there's skipping rope and juggling balls, and there's a big blow-up beach ball just in case. Back here. Just in case of what? Lily's mom knew she shouldn't ask, but she did. In case somebody says, "Has anybody got a beach ball?" Then There's games. And there's coloring books and paper. And of course, you can't have paper and coloring books without having pencils, crayons, and markers. What would you put in your backpack? Just shout out an answer. Well, thank you very much. Amazingly, that's the one thing that's not in here. What else might you need? You might need some bubbles. You need to blow a few soapy bubbles to cheer you up. You need ice cream, but that's a bit silly. I meant to say that you need money for ice cream. What else is there? Oh, there's some food, some biscuits. And let's see, what else could be in here? In winter, I need a scarf. In summer, I need a towel. And a hat. You're going to have to sing the second hymn a lot of times just while I do the clear up. What else is in there? I've got a few storybooks too and a bit of music just in case. In fact, I have, let's see, I think it's in this bit here. Here's the storybooks. And you might guess it now, a tambourine. Just in case anybody wants to hear some fun, beautiful percussive music. I can't believe it. You don't need all that stuff. I was almost giving up. Later, though, at the playground, the just in case really happened. Well, a few of the just in cases. Lily had taken out her juggling balls and skipping rope and was having fun in the sand with the others. I bet you haven't got a decent ball, one of the boys called out. Yes, I do, Lily cried and laughed and brought up the ball. Brilliant, the children all shouted and had a great game. Then one of the little kids fell off the swing, but Lily was there quick as a flash with a handful of plasters, just in case. She smiled and handed the little boy a few jelly beans and blew a few soapy bubbles to cheer him up. Then they all got tired and they sat in the shade. Lily pulled out the crayons and the paper and they played a game. They were playing a game where you try to guess as quickly as you can various animals and people and items beginning with letters. Lily won B. And then they were at F when the ice cream truck showed up. So Lily took that money that we had for the ice cream to give them some. After the ice cream, Lily wanted to put away the crayons. But she opened her mouth in surprise and cried out, "It's gone! My backpack is gone!" Everybody helped. Lily looked for the backpack. Can you help look around? Left, right, maybe is it under your chair, sir? No? The other mothers, all the children, everybody, they looked everywhere, in the bushes, in the sand, under the swings, even up in the trees. We'll get a new one, Mom tried to help. But Cyril is gone, too, as well as my other just-in-case treasures. Lily started to cry. Nobody knew what to say. Lily's special backpack was gone, and most important, Lily's toy. Cyril, that was the very worst. At bedtime, Mom told Lily, "But you put your name and address inside, didn't you? Just in case." Lily nodded, "Yes, just in case I lost it." Well, let's hope that somebody reads your address and just maybe brings it home. Mom gave her a big hug. Do you think Lily got her backpack back? Yes, indeed she did. A few days later, Cyril and the backpack were sitting at the front door. Lily couldn't believe her luck and just whooped and cried all over the kitchen, hugging Cyril and kissing her backpack. But things were missing, lots of things. The candies, the cookies, the jelly beans, and orange, the fizzy drinks, the games, and the books. And yes, I'm afraid the ice cream too. So, who took Lily's backpack and sweets? Well, Cyril knows, but isn't telling. Now, Lily doesn't put quite so many things in the backpack, just in case she loses it again. She keeps it nearby in the playground and keeps her eyes on it, just in case. Lily's a bit more careful and only puts half the things in her backpack, even though she always finds it very hard to choose. Nobody ever wants me to play my tambourine. I wonder why. The Just in Case Backpack by Andrea Kaczmarek. And I realize I mentioned sort of clearing up during the hymn, but obviously we have our candles now of joy and sorrow. So you will have to entreat me a moment. I am only myself to blame. So we now come to our candles of joy and sorrow. If you have a joy, a sorrow, a trial, or a triumph, something in your life that you wish to share, either verbally or silently, please do so. You can light a candle. If you do want to say a few words, come to the microphone, so those who are using the loop system, those who are online will be able to hear you. But as I said, you can light a candle in silence. And if you are online, you can type into the chat box and we'll read the message out. But if you want to just simply remain and sit here, holding your life in your heart, know that your presence here is enough. Nothing more is asked from you right now, just simply that you are. And so today is Mother's Day in the States. So this is a candle for my mom, and I hope she has a peaceful and calm and lovely day and is able to relax a bit and enjoy her grandkids.
Just a little candle of gratitude because today the trams aren't running, but my dad very kindly offered to drive me all the way from Oldham to Manchester, and I was very grateful of that because buses can be unpredictable at the best of times.
I light that candle for two at least people known to me who are struggling at the moment, and it's for healing their hurting and hoping that they feel the light and warmth of those around them.
This is a candle of hope for my husband Ben. So he's doing his viva for his doctorate, which on Thursday, which has been 8 years in the making. So fingers crossed. It'll be fine.
we're trying something slightly different today, and it might be actually, I'm going to trial it for about a month or so and see how we feel, and I'll take feedback. We have, for the better part of a decade, had a sort of traditional format of prayer reading, reading prayer every week, prayer reading, and then now it's things like the candles, the hymn, and then a reading, and then a prayer, the silence, and the interlude. I'm bringing together sort of this greater scope of sort of meditative experience where we have, the story sort of helps us, I suppose, expel some energy. We have an opportunity to share deeply from ourselves, and then we have a sort of calm and reflective, perhaps a canon type hymn, which will then now for the next month lead into a period of meditation, the silence, and the interlude. And then that, I hope, well, like I said, we'll see how it goes, will then allow the impact of the second reading, which is more directly related to the sermon, sort of greater potency. We'll see how it goes. And as I said, I am open to feedback, as I always am. But at this point, let us have this period of meditation. So if you wish to sit comfortably, having your feet on the floor, having your back upright, but not too stiff, not too loosey-goosey, and just try and have a good experience. We're always striving for a sort of middle way here. We're not trying to push ourselves, but we're also trying to sort of maintain a sense of posture. And when you're comfortable in that position, you can keep your eyes open. If you do, maybe cast them downwards, defocus them a bit, or a lot of people might choose to close their eyes. But in any event, you want to focus on the breath, taking a nice big deep breath in and out. In and out. And if at any point in these periods of meditation and reflection you find your mind wandering, you find it the challenges of the day, the concerns of yesterday or tomorrow, whatever it is that sort of occupies your mind, you can turn to the breath. You can return to it. Just focusing on that breath in and out. In and out. We're not chastising ourselves if the thoughts come to our mind. We're simply acknowledging them and returning to a place of calm and peace. And like our story, I want you to imagine a backpack. Imagine that backpack filled with everything that you hold on to for that just-in-case moment. It might be material things, money in case you have an emergency, plasters, food. What are the things that occupy your concerns, for which you need something in your mind as a just-in-case solution? Maybe it's a person. Maybe it's a dear loved one, a friend or family member that you can turn to in times of need. Maybe it's a virtue, like an awareness of your hard work or integrity. Maybe it's simply some acknowledgement of the beauty of the world, an appreciation and an awareness of your part within it. Maybe it's the joy of grace, that in the words of Rumi, no matter how many times you have turned away, you can come, yet again come. How heavy is your backpack? How needed are those material concerns? Could you perhaps set some aside? Making your load just a little bit lighter. Breathing in and out. And so we have this time of reflection and meditation, silence and prayer, which will be concluded with a musical interlude. Our second reading today is by Peter Fleck, entitled Hope. From classical Greek mythology, Pandora comes to us, a woman of beauty and grace. When she is given in marriage to Prometheus' brother, Zeus provides as a dowry a box containing all the evils of the world and hope as well, with the understanding that she will not open it. But Pandora, driven by curiosity, does open it, and the evils escape before she can restore the lid. Only hope remains confined in the box. Dr. Carl Menninger once noted that the Encyclopedia Britannica devotes many columns on the topic of love and many more to faith. But hope, poor little hope, she is not even listed. Indeed, sometimes it seems as if hope were still imprisoned in Pandora's box. Dr. Menninger's references to the famous passage from the 13th chapter of Paul's first letter to the Corinthians. So faith, hope, and love abide, these three, but the greatest of these is love. These words present one of the most eloquent statements on love in Western literature. But lately, two reservations have weakened that conviction. First, no reason is given in the text why these three, faith, hope, and love, abide. The second reservation is more substantive. I am no longer convinced that the greatest of the three is love. And if it is, I've begun to think that it should share that privileged position with hope. For our lives are based on hope. Without it, life withers. Hope and faith are related. Paul defines faith as the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. If we have faith, says Paul, we believe our hopes will be fulfilled. Paul offers more than mere worldly optimism here. Yet, religious liberalism is an optimistic tradition, reflecting the mood of the 18th century Enlightenment and of 19th century rational humanism. But this mood could not do justice to, nor does it hold up under, the catastrophes of the 20th and 21st century. 2 world wars, the Holocaust, famine for hundreds of millions, the invention of means of total annihilation, the rising threat to our environment, the devastating epidemic of AIDS. Blind optimism is not a realistic option, nor is it a spiritual one. Yet, though our optimism fails us, religious liberals do not recognize pessimism as a valid option. The spiritual option is to find the line between optimism and pessimism that corresponds to the realities of life. The time of hope supersedes optimism and pessimism and transforms fear. But hope must be more than a feeling. It must be related to doing. In Nazi-occupied Holland, hope became possible only when one acted and got others to act. Only then was fear transformed. Only then did one experience hope. Hope by Peter Fleck. And let us sing our next hymn, Just as Long as I Have Breath, in the Purple Book number 83 by Alicia S. Carpenter.
With pain
Although the weather has been changeable recently, the brilliant sunshine the other week, and indeed a little bit the other day, reminded me of a time when I was in Piccadilly Gardens. It was likewise a brilliant, sunny day, and as I sat there, this was a few years ago, before the recent developments, I felt a deep appreciation for the weather. It really felt like a gift. Often it can take us a little while to appreciate what is right there in front of us, myself being no exception. Not wanting to waste a moment, I took the opportunity to visit that green space in Manchester, one of the few, and joined the sweltering crowd at Piccadilly Gardens. This was at a time when I was a bit harried and out of sorts, which, to be honest, isn't much different from many other points in my adulthood. It felt like I had too much to do. So along with the sunshine came an equal dose of guilt. I shouldn't be there. I should be back in the office. Meanwhile, I remembered words from the cartoonist Bill Watterson, that creativity cannot be turned on like a tap. One needs to be in the right mood, and that mood is last-minute panic. And it wasn't Saturday night yet, so I had plenty of time before I was due to sit down and write my sermon. However, this feeling of conflict and guilt changed. At some point, I allowed my mind to rest. I stilled myself, and I tried to just enjoy the company and the cacophony. I stopped fighting that need to rest, much like how my son eventually surrenders himself to sleep. Adults, by the way, have a much greater arsenal to keep them off of nature's course. It was in that period of silence and stillness, when I gave up on intention, objective, and motive, that a few lines of poetry came to me, an image really, that I was later able to scrawl as a few lines of verse. They come for the sun, worshippers, and all displaying their brashness, timidity, laughter, and repose, drinking confection, which is actually alcohol. The rightfully proud, the injured, the anguished, stretched out on grass patches cut through by concrete and stone. Every individual holding tight to their square foot of earth, lest their desertion become permanent, while wave after wave of footsteps trudge past, too busy for the warmth. Children are baptized in the fountain, and for a time I am jealous, yearning to sully my adult vestments and know a different foolishness than what occupies my life. One that throws off expectation and convention for the unprepared answer that is always joy-filled. Too long have I strayed, and the world carried on, I assume, as I leave that place. This poem, composed a few years ago and lost to me until I happened upon it in my archives, was meant to give thanks to a world with which so many struggle. The cycles of inspiration and creativity sometimes abound in my mind, and other times I feel as though I'm in a desert. It was in this instance that I managed to set aside temporarily expectation and allow myself to become a fallow field, worked by nature's hands with the gift of fruits that I could never have planted myself. By relinquishing what I thought I needed, I was given a gift, what I really needed. Though the cycles of the season may carry on, though I may age slowly as I wake and walk through life, this was a gift. The hamster wheel of hurry and commitment paused just briefly. That cycle, at least that cycle, was interrupted. As a child, I don't think I would understand the appreciation for routine that I enjoy as an adult. I wanted new adventures, excitement, and change. It's what brought me here, I suppose. Now I find joy and contentment in the regularity of wake-ups, bedtime routines, and meals. That is a gift, too, that is already here for me. As much as I might wax poetic about the rituals and clockwork with which I encounter in life, I do also understand that too much of a good thing is, well, bad. And so we might consider how too much routine, too much ritual, too much regularity can stifle our souls. Did you, for instance, know that there used to be an eighth sin called acedia, spiritual malaise, disconnection from the divine sources? It was recognized by the desert elders, those ascetics who were the early catalogers of the Christian experience. They recognized this noonday demon as its own trap before it was eventually subsumed under sloth, which is, in my opinion, a bit more of an active deadly sin. Acedia is a creep that sort of comes upon us, whereas sloth, I imagine, as being a more sort of willful choice. I use the term sin rarely, and I'm conscious enough to note that when I'm describing sloth as active, that might tilt a few eyebrows. In any event, I have in the past spoken about my own suffering from acedia. We might all find ourselves perhaps feeling a bit slothful, a bit ascetic. I had initially planned, for instance, on talking about faith and art, and then following the election and a particularly powerful interfaith meeting that I attended this week, I wanted to switch course. But we have had several weeks of cutting back the dense foliage of bigotry, ignorance, and our values, so I hoped I could be a bit lazy and encourage you all to take the time that you need as well. If I voice it that way, it sounds less like I'm advocating for the idle hands, which, as we all know, are the devil's playthings. So to strike that balance, I think there's three things that we need to help us when we face these periods of lethargy and inertia and acedia that we might experience this week and in the coming weeks. Community. There are still people out there who hold the values that we hold, who see a society enriched by diversity, who see the potential to help lift us and our neighbors out of poverty, who are confident in their identities, their goodness, and are willing to advocate and support those whose voices are hidden under fear and circumstance. There's reflection, returning to the garden. Although not completely revived, I did find it to be a moment of enlightenment, bringing me out of the doldrums. I felt as though this gift of clarity had transported me to a different vantage, allowing me to another view or understanding of the world, its pretenses, and its actual nature. These moments can only come when we allow ourselves to be calm. Like Anne Lewin's poem, Prayer, we discover that prayer, which you might think of as reflection, is like watching and waiting for the kingfisher. All you can do is be where he is likely to appear and wait. Eventually, you might be blessed with a flash of brightness, but it's not guaranteed. But what is guaranteed is that if you don't take that time, if you don't rest, if you don't still the mind, you will surely not have that moment of clarification. The final and third thing that I thought might help us climb out of acedia and be prepared for the next day is hope. Hope that a little girl will get her backpack back. Hope that hope will eventually be let out of the box. Hope that we can carry on and find kindred souls today and tomorrow and the next day. Peter Fleck reminded us of the excerpt from the first letter to the Corinthians. Now abideth faith, hope, and love, these three. The greatest of these is love. Fleck questions these listings, going so far as to ask whether love really is the greatest of the three. What cannot be denied is their interconnection. Faith, in its definition, relies on hope, and I think hope in turn leads to love. Having a conviction that the world will be okay, provided that we are there working for that. Our hearts may feel lifted. We may find ourselves emboldened to pray and to care and to love all of our neighbors. After all, if our material hope is that the world may join together with commitment to the least of us, do we not have to imagine a world where those with whom we disagree have found their way, maybe we have to find our way too. I'm not saying that moment is now, but there can be hope, and we will see it. There must be hope that it will come. Amen. A few notices before we sing our final hymn. You have some upcoming events in the back of the order of worship. In 2 weeks, we're having our flower communion, which is a Unitarian celebration. Everyone is invited to bring a flower, which then creates a communal bouquet. At the end, everyone receives a different flower as they go on their journeys. For me, it's one of the most beautiful representations of Unitarianism, that we all have our gifts, we all have our beauty and divinity, and we can share this and create something even more powerful. And then what we receive from the church, as I said in the sermon, might not be what we think we need, but hopefully it will be what we need, and in case it will be different to what we bring. So that's the flower communion on the 24th. It's followed by a shared meal, so please do sign up if you're able to bring something, and definitely let us know if you have any dietary requirements so that we can cater for everyone. We have a number of recitals coming up on the 29th. We welcome Hugh, McKenna, and friends. That's the last Friday of the month at 1 p.m. Our recitals are free to attend, but we are grateful for any contributions which go to the artists to recognize their time, talent, and energy. And if you can book for it helps us have an idea of the numbers so we can make sure we have enough seats out and so forth. So that's the 29th. We have our very own Aaron Breeze on the 12th of June. Really looking forward to that. It's called Vanity, so one or the other. And then at the end of June, we have our regular last of the Friday lunchtime recitals, the 26th, Zilu Huang and Friends. So that's on the 26th of June and those others. Are there any announcements or notices from the congregation? Let us then sing our final hymn, number 68 in the Purple Book, I Dream of a Church, by Kate Compston, hymn number 68. Thank you, Eric, for that fantastic music. Thank you, Sonia and Meet, for helping to set up and for greeting, and for these beautiful flowers, Sonia, and for helping up the story. And thank you, Carl, for the IT. And do we have anyone to help with the tea and coffee today? Thank you, Alvin, for the tea and coffee, which we're about to enjoy. And thank you to everyone for creating and sharing this worship today. We close with these words of Theodore Parker. Be ours a religion which, like sunshine goes everywhere. Its temple, all space. Its shrine, the good heart. Its creed, all truth. Its ritual, works of love. Its profession of faith, divine living.